Hi, this is Megan from Golden Spiral Tarot, and today I'm going to be talking about a very difficult card in the tarot. At least I would say probably the most difficult card in the Minor Arcana, and that is the Ten of Swords, this bad boy. Now, obviously, this is the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Centennial Edition, and obviously this is not a happy card. Every card in tarot has light and shadow, good and bad. But this one in particular, I think it's hard not to see the bad. This is very obvious and it's very on the surface. So you can see a man that's being pierced, maybe a woman, being pierced by 10 swords, and it's very dark and gloomy, and it's intense. It's intense. It's not a happy card. So I want to talk about this card not only because I feel like I'm kind of dwelling in this space right now, so I thought it'd be therapeutic for me to kind of get my thoughts out about it and kind of look for the positives in this card, but also the lessons it can teach you, because I think, like the fives in the Minor Arcana, this Ten of Swords is a huge teacher. It's not going to be an easy lesson that's going to teach you, but it's going to teach you a lesson. So I wanted to talk about that because I thought that would be useful for me. But I also thought, I think we really need to investigate and to explore even the darker aspects of life as they are represented in the tarot. So I thought that'd be kind of cool. So stick with me if that's something that interests you. And I think it's important when you're learning to read the cards or reading cards for other people is to see the advice and the lessons the cards give you. It's not all doom and gloom, especially since I'm not a predictive reader. I want to look at, okay, what is this card trying to tell me? How can it help me? How can it be useful to me? And I think certain cards, like this Ten of Swords, it can kind of be difficult. And especially when you're going through a Ten of Swords cycle or energy in your life, it can be super difficult. So let's break down the meaning. So how I learned this card is it's rock bottom. And I feel like usually the swords represent all these forces that you had no control over, or some of them you didn't have control over, but they're all happening at once. All these bad, challenging, difficult things are happening to you at once. And you feel beaten down. You feel like, I don't know how I'm going to survive this. I don't know what I'm going to do to get through this. You feel very stuck. And in the moment, it's so difficult, and it's so difficult to see a way out. It's so difficult to see the positive, and you're just at your wit's end. It's a very difficult card. So that's how I learned this card. But I also learned that in the back, the horizon, you can see that the sun is about to rise. So even though things are difficult now, even though things don't feel like they could get any worse and you'd be able to make it out, the sun is about to rise. It's always darkest before the dawn, to use that old platitude. But that can be called comfort when you're going through the Ten of Swords. So I kind of want to investigate that a little bit further. Because at the end, okay, life is a spiral, life is a cycle. There's good and bad, and it's this continual cycle. And things will get better, things will get worse, things will get better again. But sometimes when you're within that more negative aspects of life and dealing with more negative experiences or emotions or events in life, it can be really difficult to see, oh, it will get better. The sun is going to rise. A new day will dawn. All those positive, fluffy things. It can be really difficult to access those when you're in a Ten of Swords space. So let's discuss that a little further. And I'm going to show you a few more cards. Now, this card is probably more similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith interpretation of the card. And this is from Dark Days Tarot. So you can see it's very similar. You have a figure kind of crouched, fetal position almost, doubled over with 10 swords sticking from her back. And beneath her you can see some roses, which I think is really interesting. So one of the things we can remember, even in these dark moments, even in these dark times, that we are laying ground, there is a sense of fertile soil that we're creating. in dealing with all of these terrible things and these difficult moments. That through your challenges, through your struggles, every day you get through is an achievement, and you're planting seeds for future growth. Now, it might not seem like that. It might not seem like anything good is happening or any future goodness is being planted. But every day you get through, every moment that you are able to get through the day is successful. You got through it. And you may not get through it in the way that you want to. There are many times, especially with certain things I'm working on, where I'm like, oh, if I was not in this current state or cycle, how I define being successful in this particular aspect of life would be completely different. But I know that I'm doing what I need to do to get through it. So, in that strength of getting through one day at a time, and developing that determination, that persistence, even though it sucks, even though every day you wake up, you might be thinking, I don't even know how I can get through this day. But then you get home, you're planting those seeds for further growth, further strength. So the next day, maybe not the next day, but down the road, it might be a little easier. You might be a little more resilient, might be a little more persistent. Because when you get out of the cycle of the Ten of Swords and the sun finally begins to rise, you can look back on the accomplishment. Like, man, that time in my life, everything was going wrong. Nothing seemed to be going right, but I made it through. I got through it. And now new challenges, new struggles that pop up don't seem so difficult. And I think also when we talk about this fertile soil that we're creating with all our sweat and tears and pain, you think about artists or writers who are inspired by that pain, by those difficulties in their life to create something beautiful. So use this pain for productive ways, for creative ways. Let it be a breeding ground for something good. And this could be something small. I'm not saying take on a big art project, learn how to paint, or write a book when you're in the middle of the Ten of Swords. No, I'm saying those are things you can use in the future for creative projects, or finding something that is not too much of an effort for you to do that is creative, that you can put some of that energy and negative emotions into in a productive way. So for example, I like to craft, I like to knit. I think at heart I'm an 80-year-old woman, but I love knitting and I love creating something with my hands. So when I'm going through this current cycle of the Ten of Swords, like I am, and it feels really good to knit, to do something creative, to make something. And that might be drawing for you, that might be writing for you. And it doesn't need to be something you publish or sell or give away, but just putting your energy into something productive that you can make, that you can do. And it can be anything, any artistic endeavor. And I think that's very useful, to make something. Doesn't need to be big. I made a hat the other day, you know? But in that moment of distraction where I'm just sitting there knitting and purling and knitting and purling, I can put some of that energy, some of that difficulty, some of that pain and anxiety, I can put it in that work. I can release it. And I think writing is also a great way to do that, whether it's journaling, whatever it might be, poetry, whatever. Cooking might be what you can put that into, that energy into, but I think that can be really fruitful and healing, and help you make it through this space. So I hope that made sense. Hopefully I'm making sense. All right, so let's start Day's Tarot, and I want to look at two more cards that maybe have a more gentle interpretation of the Ten of Swords. So the first one I'm going to show you is, let's go with the Japanese Tarot. It's a French surrealist artist who created this deck, and she has renamed some of the suits to be more evocative of their elemental association. So, for example, the Ten of Swords in this deck is the Ten of Winds. So if you look at this, You can see a bunch of bats resting in a tree. It's kind of dark, it's kind of gloomy, but we still have, like I mentioned before, that horizon. And that's something to always keep in mind with the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is not forever. The Ten of Swords is not forever. You're going through these cycles in life and you don't know how you're going to make it out. You don't know how you're going to make it out, and you're just in survival mode. But you got to remember, even though it might seem like cold comfort, that it's not going to be forever. Things will get better. It might not happen in the timeline you'd want it to. It might not happen the way you want it to, but it will get better. So I think when you see that horizon and the sun rising over it, that's another reminder. Okay, this is transitory. This is a moment in life, but it's not forever. So another reminder there. I also think the bats are very evocative and connects back to the Hanged Man, the idea of suspension and rest and letting go and release. And I think a lot of times, especially Ten of Swords, when I think most of the time it's stuff that's out of your control. I've been sick constantly. That's one of the swords that I feel like is stuck in my back right now. I have been sick constantly. I think I've been to the doctor 5 times. I've been on 3 rounds of antibiotics. You can hear my voice and my sniffling that I'm getting over another illness, and it's been absurd. It's been ridiculous. And it's really sucked and made everything else that I've been dealing with even more challenging because I'm not healthy. I'm not at 100% to deal with all those difficult things. So again, that survival mode, when you just feel like you're just crushed or at rock bottom, you feel so stuck. And a lot of that is in the Hanged Man. And again, the Hanged Man, we see that there's an enlightenment that comes from that. There's a learning process, there's a teaching process, that at the end of that, there's transformation and there's growth in the Hanged Man. So I think having the bats here in the Japanese tarot is really helpful. Sometimes you're going to have to see things from a new perspective to get through it. It's that hanging upside down with the Hanged Man. And sometimes it's a matter of just hanging out, letting go, realizing, okay, I can't control these aspects of my life. What can I control? What can I do? And they might be minimal things that don't seem very big, but at the end, they'll probably add up, and they'll probably help you survive and get through these difficult times. So letting go, release. And that's, again, that's the learning experience. That's the message of the Hanged Man. And I think that carries over into the Ten of Swords, learning to let go. Okay, what things, not only what things are out of my control that I can't control, that I need to let go, but also what things in life do I not need to handle right now, or that I can delegate. So there's certain things, certain responsibilities or expectations that I can get rid of. So maybe there are these extra obligations, extra things that aren't as important that you can get rid of for now, that are one more thing piling up on your back, one more thing that's making all those swords in your back be worse, if that makes sense. So for example, maybe you have extra responsibilities that you took on at work or at home or with another group. Maybe let that go for a while. Maybe, the people that care for you and that understand will be like, oh, I get that this extra thing that you don't need to do is something that's causing more stress, more difficulty in this time of crisis. And I think that's okay to honestly tell people, hey, this little thing that I thought I could handle, I can't. And of course, there's going to be responsibilities that you can't put down. But the little things that maybe aren't as important, aren't as necessary, get rid of those, release those. Don't make things harder for yourself right now. Delegate, ask for help. Try to take off any extra burdens that you don't need to carry. So think about what those things are, and that can be very difficult. We all live stressful lives, we all have ridiculous responsibilities, but are there places that maybe aren't as necessary, that are maybe extra things that you can get rid of or delegate or ask for help with? So releasing those things, I think, can be very productive and helpful. There might be like a hobby you have that you just gotta let go so that you can get through the other things that you need to do, at least for now. So there's one less thing for you to worry about right now. So I think that's another message that the Ten of Swords teaches. You don't have to do everything, especially when you're in this place of the Ten of Swords. You're at the most difficult time, it feels like, of your life, probably in this moment. And every time you go through the Ten of Swords, it might feel like that. Although I think at the end, you are better able to handle difficult times as they come up in the future. But release what you don't need, what's not helping you. If you don't need it, if it's not necessary, if you're still going to be able to feed yourself and shelter yourself and it's just something extra, put it aside, because it's not worth it. Take all the little extra stressors and triggers away. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. I don't know if I'm rambling. I have lots of emotions that I feel like I'm cathartically going through as I talk about this. So this is as much for me as it is for anyone who might find this interesting. So last one I want to discuss, a version of the Ten of Swords that I want to discuss is from the Mother Peace Tarot, because I think that can be a very gentle healing deck. So I wanted to pull the Ten of Swords from this card, and it's honestly a deck I haven't worked with a lot, so I was curious to go back because I couldn't remember exactly how the Ten of Swords was depicted. So here's the Ten of Swords in the Mother Piece. You can see that. So we have our Ten of Swords and a bunch of people jumping off into the ocean. So again, I think we have that idea of, yes, there's catastrophe. Yes, there's something difficult, but also of surrender, of letting go, of release. Now the tens a lot of times are extremes, right? Even the Ten of Cups, it's extreme happiness. Like everything is perfect and shiny and wonderful, and it's almost too good to be true. Ten of Swords is an extreme of catastrophe, of everything that seems to be going wrong. Kind of like all these little towers that seem to be falling over in your path. But there's a sense of release. Just let go. It's not worth it. Kind of a sense maybe these women here are trying to save this little structure, this little Grecian temple here. Maybe they're trying to hold on to things how they were, hold on to their old expectations of their life, how things have been, and now they're being challenged. I gotta move forward. And sometimes, like the Fool, again, we have lots of echoes of the majors in here. I gotta take a leap of faith. I gotta release this. I gotta move forward. I gotta accept things how they are. And that can be really challenging, especially again, when this Ten of Swords, I think, is mostly about things outside of your control. Being sick was a million times this year has been out of my control. No amount of hand sanitizer and healthy practices and eating healthy and all the silly things I've been doing haven't been helping. And then everything else that's been going on are just out of my control. So what can I release? How can I move forward? How can I make peace with where I'm at right now? How can I, let's bring up a Rider-Waite-Smith, our good old Rider-Waite-Smith. How can I make peace with this emotion, with this card, with this cycle, with everything that's been going on that's just made you feel just wrecked, just at rock bottom? And there's some acceptance, there's some peace that comes with acceptance. Yes, things suck. I'm miserable. I don't know how I'm going to get through it. But that's okay. It's okay. Life is a cycle. Life is a spiral. Good things are going to happen. Bad things are going to be happening. And let's try to learn from them. Let's try to figure out, okay, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to make it until the sun rises? What lessons can I learn? What lessons can I integrate that are going to make things easier? So, to sum up, hopefully, my ramblings, Ten of Swords. Things suck. It's okay. Use those wonderful lessons of the Hanged Man and the Fool, okay? Use your pain, use these emotions that you're carrying, make something beautiful from it. Something that's therapeutic, that allows you to use those negative emotions in a productive way. And sometimes it can just be just relaxing or writing, you know. Take that time for yourself. And I think also release things that you don't need. Release responsibilities that you don't have to take on right now. You don't have to do everything right now. Be gentle to yourself. Take the time you need. Again, I feel like I've been in survivor's mode, and there's lots of things that I normally, if I'm at full energy and full capacity, I would take on and handle. But now I can't. So I gotta let those things go, or I gotta ask for help with things I do still need to carry, because I can't do it all and get through the day. So where are those things that you can let go, or you can delegate, or you can get help with? Don't keep carrying it all. You got 10 swords sticking out of your back. You don't need to be handling any more than you already are handling. So where can you let go? What can you release? And again, I think that goes back into our lovely mother piece, releasing, surrender, suspension, all those Hanged Man, taking a leap of faith, faith in yourself, faith in the journey, faith that things will get better, even though things suck now, but still honoring. I think I hate all these stupid platitudes that people will tell you that, oh, if you're just positive enough, if you just change your perspective, things will be wonderful and shiny and you'll be happy and everything will be great. And I think to a certain extent, yes, there are things that can help you have a more positive outlook on life, and I think exploring these darker things and how to handle them can kind of change your outlook and change perspective, like we talked about with the Japanese tarot, like the Hanged Man kind of coming to a new perspective, a new awareness, a new awakening. That can be helpful, yes, but it's not going to change things from sucking, and especially if you're like me and deal with mental illness. There's brain chemistry issues, and I can cope with it, and I can manage it, but just, there's no easy flip of a switch that's going to make things better. And realizing that's okay. And don't beat yourself up about that. There's no easy answers, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about, like, why can't I just be happy? Why can't I just get through this? Why can't I take on everything that's going on like I used to? It's okay that you can't. It's okay that you're in survival mode and you have to let some things go. The people that matter will understand. But I think we are always our harshest critics, usually. We are the harshest critics of ourselves. And we see other people going through life, and maybe to your mind, man, they're going through way more crap that I have never dealt with, and they seem to be fine. But you can't do that. You can't get in that trap of comparing yourself to other people. You gotta realize that your needs and your energy and your abilities and your capacities and whatever you're going through in your life, that's how you handle it is going to be different than other people. And you can't beat yourself up about it, because that's only going to be another self-inflicted wound. And it's hard. It's really hard. So if you feel like you're going through the Ten of Swords, like I am, I wish you luck. Things will get better. You will get stronger. You will make it. But it's okay that you feel like crap right now. It's okay that things aren't going well. Be gentle with yourself. Take the time you need. I'm really lucky today. I have a day off work. It's a holiday here in the US. Really silly holiday, President's Day. But I'm glad I have it and the time off. So I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it to catch up on the things I want to do. I'm going to use it through this therapeutic exercise that I don't know if it's going to help anyone else. Maybe I'm just reinforcing ideas to myself. And that's okay. That's fine. But if it's useful to someone else, that will be great and that will be wonderful. So comment below if this has been helpful and useful, and maybe we can talk about more difficult cards. There's plenty in the tarot that are really good and cathartic to work through. So let me know. But yeah, things suck, and it's okay. Things suck. Be gentle with yourself. Take the time you need. Ask for help. Do the things that make you happy. Take that time for yourself. And don't beat yourself up for not doing everything. I've been so sick I haven't went to the gym in ages. I haven't done all these like meditation or even doing my daily draws of tarot that I know can be really helpful for me. But I'm laying on the couch when I get home from work and I'm just done. I'm done. My day's over and I'm exhausted and wiped out, and I don't know how I got through the day, but I did. And all I have energy for is just to lie down on the couch, maybe watch some TV. That's it. That's it. And that's okay. That's honestly okay. I haven't been keeping up with my Instagram as much or making YouTube videos like I had planned. And I gotta be gentle with myself and be like, it's okay. I'm doing what I can do right now. I'm not gonna overextend myself because I'm already beyond overextended. So, yeah, I gotta do that. Well, this was useful for me and therapeutic for me, and I feel very cathartic, like I just released some stuff. So for anyone that was listening, I'm sorry. I hope it had some usefulness to you, at least to delve into the more negative cards, because I think sometimes those negative cards and these negative moments of life can be the most valuable and the most useful and the most helpful if we let them. And again, that surrender to that journey, surrender to the process, and don't try to fight it, because eventually things will get better and there will be a beautiful sunrise and we'll look back and think, wow, I can't believe that was a sucky AF time, but I got through it and I'm stronger for it. And look at everything I've been able to accomplish since then and because of then. All right. Well, I'm going to end there. I wish you luck, especially if you're going through this 10 of Swords. Comment below if you have any questions, comments. I am going to do some prep for my Instagram, so I'm actually going to be posting over the next few weeks now that I have my day off to actually do that. Let's see. Oh, I was going to talk about some things that are great to do when you're in that 10 of Swords moment, that are easy, that are simple, that aren't going to be one other thing to add to your routine. Because even, like I was saying, even meditation or drawing a card, I find very emotionally beneficial, but when you're going through this 10 of Swords cycle, you don't even have energy for that. Even a 5-minute meditation can seem too much at the time. So a few things that I find really helpful is having some nice smelling candles. I like aromatherapy. I think it can be very useful. It doesn't fix anything, but I think it is, at least to a certain extent, can calm you down. So one thing I recommend, I don't know if you can find this outside of Utah, but I'm sure there's plenty of other versions out there, but I have this Full Moon Farms lovely lavender spray and peaceful and calming spray. Sorry, I did not say that well, but you can see that there. And this is just lavender essential oil and water. I just spritz it around. It smells really nice. I also have a little roller ball with lavender and some carrier oil that I put on my wrists and my temples and on my neck. And that can be really soothing and relaxing. So it's super easy. I'm not doing much. It doesn't take much energy to do. I also think a cup of tea. Lavender is my go-to. This is a Earl Grey lavender, but whatever scent you find calming and relaxing, I think can be really good just to have around. And it's so easy and it's quick, and it's something that even when you feel like you don't have energy to do anything, maybe not even to eat, try to eat if you can, but even that is something, just quick spritz of some scent, I think can be very useful and calming, kind of recenter yourself, and it can be just something small that can help a little bit. And I think anything that helps a little bit can be hugely valuable during this Ten of Swords time. So that's something that's useful. I also have what's called a dry brush that I got, and it's so silly, but you just it's like a little stiff body brush, and you just slowly brush your skin just very gently. And besides like moving dead skin cells and being good for your skin and exfoliating, it's really relaxing. It feels really good. So if you're someone that's really sensory and tactile like me, that might be something. It's just called a body brush. If you look it up online, you'll be able to see what it looks like. I got mine for like $6 at the local grocery store. So that's really useful, and I can just literally just watch TV and just like, you know, but it feels really nice and relaxing. And again, don't be afraid to ask your loved ones for help too. Hey honey, will you rub my feet or whatever, or ask a friend, hey, would you mind coming over and just hanging out with me? Sometimes just having someone around you. I'm very introverted, but I do need that social interaction every once in a while, and that can be really good to kind of give me the kick in the butt to kind of put myself out there and be friendly, and that can kind of help me forget and release some difficult emotions that I'm going through. So calling a friend and being like, hey, you want to come over and watch a movie? That's it. Those can be useful things and have been useful for me. And sometimes as far as meditation, like I said, I don't even have the energy to do that, it feels like now. But there's plenty of apps. There's a mindfulness app, and I'll look it up for you, that has like 5-minute, 3-minute meditations that you can do before bed. So sometimes I'll do that. I haven't been as good, but maybe that's your jam. Maybe that's something you can do very quickly and easily that won't cost too much energy. And the app I use, it's a free app, and it is called Meditation, I believe, Studio. Yes, Meditation Studio. And I think the app creator is Gaiam, I think it's Jaim. Maybe the I and the A are reversed, but something like that. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully the suggestions are helpful. Hopefully this discussion of these more difficult cards is helpful if you're learning. I hope my ramblings were somewhat useful for some of you, but I think at the end of the day, this was definitely a video that was more for me to work through all my crap. But, you know, if I helped someone along the way, that's wonderful. So hopefully I did. Please comment below with any questions, any other ideas, maybe your own suggestions of what you do when you're in the middle of a Ten of Swords situation. Any advice that you feel like the card has, or any things you do to help you get through that cycle would be awesome, because I will take any suggestions. So yeah, I think I'll end there. Wow, 30 minutes. Whew, okay. We'll see if anyone sticks around for that. But yeah. All right, well, if you did, thank you. I appreciate it. That makes me feel good. And I hope you have a lovely day. And I hope you take the care you need for yourself, because you deserve it. I know you do. I don't know you, but I know you do. So take the time you need for yourself and be gentle with yourself. And I'll end there. Have a lovely day.